Hello everyone, this video is in response to discussion question 2. Um, and I think it's very important that, the client and counselor personalities match. When I think about it, I think about a husband and a wife, how if both of them are alpha personalities, both of them have the strong personalities, then they're going to bump heads eventually, so they have to decide who's going to lead and when. And also, I think about a little infant and an adult, whether a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, that relationship. Sometimes the family member's excited to see the little child, but if you come on too strong and forceful, then you might scare the child and they'll run away from you and they're not going to want to even interact with you and they'll just hide behind their parent or they'll scream and cry. But if you calm down and you take it easy, after a while, the child will warm up to you and come to you freely on their own. So I think about the relationship with a counselor and the client, and if a client is too dominant, it might scare the if a counselor is too dominant, it might scare the client. So the client may not even feel comfortable to open up and share freely. Or maybe it's the client that's like really dominant. The counselor might feel intimidated, although they're the professionals. They might feel intimidating to even ask certain questions to the client for fear of their reaction. So I think it's important that there's just balance in that client counselor relationship dynamic. To know, I think it's important for the counselor to feel out and see what type of personality the client have so that they can know how to move forward in the counseling session, because for some people you have to be very assertive in order to get them to open up and for them to share and to really get to know them. But for other people, if you're too assertive, it can come off as being aggressive and they'll just kind of go into their shell, quote unquote. So I think it's important. The Bible, Paul talks about being all things to all people. So I think as counselors, we need to adapt that philosophy where we're being all things to our client. We have to know the different types, personality types that our clients will have, based on our interaction with them, and gauge it from there to know whether we sit back and listen and let the client speak, like do most of the speaking and just interject ever so often, or if we need to be the one to take full control of the session. I think it's good to have balance in that. And I think one thing that will help us achieve that balance is to have that multicultural understanding and to know that, realize that everyone's coming from a different culture. So knowing what's appropriate for each culture, like for example, in one culture, speaking and making a lot of eye contact is seen as offensive in some cultures, but then in other cultures, if you don't make that eye contact when speaking, folks will take offense to that. So I think, regardless of what issue the clients are coming in with, I think the multicultural aspect, being able to relate cross culture is very helpful and will be the key. And Sexton and his colleagues support this in their 1997 research that they did. They said regardless of what issues people were coming in with, they felt the more that they can relate to their counselor, and they could open up more to their counselor, and that was what helped them to have an effective treatment, the level of comfort they felt with their counselor. So I think it's important that as mental health clinicians that we see the personality types, and I think some personality traits that help make this easier for the clients is if the counselor is assertive, if the counselor is humble, is gentle, if the counselor is kind and empathetic to and sympathetic to towards the patient and not judgmental, and not come with this know all attitude, but be willing to learn. And another counselor that supports this is Jana Abdullah, who's been a mental health clinician for over 19 years. She said, to be an effective counselor, theory and practice must marry. So theory is what we learn in school, we learn in the books, and practice is what you learn in real life with real life clients. So we must learn how to intertwine the two, how to apply what we've learned in the books. Theory and practice must marry. So that's my response to discussion question 2. And I thank you all for tuning in.